Alright, hi everybody, it's Bonkai922. You know what time it is. It's fairy tale time. Oh no! More complainers are gonna say, you don't like fairy tale, why are you reviewing it? Ooh, because I can! Ha! After this though, 8 o'clock. Yeah. I'm joining Larry Williams. Taco Assemble! For Game of Thrones expectations. And I should also meant Sunday night, be there, be square, at the Game of Thrones sofa. Come right over to Bonkai922's channel for a live stream of Afterthoughts. I'll have some guests. So our fanboy, you know, the usual clue. We'll talk about Game of Thrones, thoughts, and all that jazz. Okay. Fairy tale. This one I'm going to review. And I said, oh, to review or not to review? But this one I'm going to review again. It's so weird that Hero just fucked up and everyone dropped the shit. And now all of a sudden, shit's getting good. This one was called 325 Unity. Now, this was kind of cheesy. And there was some Madoshi power involved at one point, which I'm not going to discuss because it's stupid too. It's just basically the king talking about what needs to be done. This is obviously the chapter after the fake Lucy died. Future Lucy died. But yeah. And pretty much the beginning part, we got Lucy Natsu's telling her to leave, and Loki's grabbing her to leave this to Natsu. And saying remove yourself at once, and Rogue saying you're not getting away. And that's when Natsu knocks him out. And Rogue's like saying, I expected you to stick your nose in my business, but since you'll be red. He apparently is stating that Natsu's going to be killed by the dragons anyway. So. And here's the thing about Rogue. I don't think he's there to save the world. I'm convinced. This motherfucker wants to destroy the world. Because no one is like that. No one is fucking like that. I think he's part of Seraph. But that's for another time. Anyway, he's fighting him, you know. He says, die, Natsu Dragneel. And he says, you took something precious away from me. Protect our future our way. Yeah, whatever. Anyway. The other part, there was basically several things that happened in this chapter. The thing with Natsu in the beginning and Rogue. And the thing with Yukino and Mira Jane. That was important. Also, when Lucy starts talking to Arcadius, that was important. That scene was big important. And the thing with Jellal. Yeah. Jellal and lahall. But in this scene with Mira Jane and Yukino, they're basically talking, you know, here and there and saying about, you know, about, what were you saying? Yeah, basically talking about, you know, she was saying, Yukino was telling her how, you know, she's bad luck, and everywhere I go, I cause people misfortune, you shouldn't be around me. And she says, but people all have their own reason for living, no matter how small it may be, even you have a purpose. And that's where we go from that to Arcadius and the gang, Arcadius and the princess, and they're ready to blast the dragons. They're ready to open up the gate. And she says, we're commencing the Eclipse cannon firing sequence. And they're going to finally open the gate. And they're saying how we're going to evacuate the citizens, and so on and so forth. And she says, the princess is hoping that they can eliminate the dragons in one fell swoop. And then we see Lucy thinking about what Rogue said, that she was going to stop it and eventually cause the destruction of the world. And then that's when Lucy, happy, we showed ourselves to the princess, and princess tells them that they won the tournament, and so on and so forth. And she's asking them why they're opening the gates. And the princess is basically saying that the whole gist behind this is that they can't fire it like that. They need to open it and have it charge up. It's like a charging cannon, magic cannon, if you will. So they let it charge, and then they shoot it at the dragons. So that way, when the dragons show up eventually, and it's all charged up, they'll be able to fire it. Basically what she's saying. And they inform them also, because Arcadius asked, where's the future you? And they say she was killed by another person from the future. And Lucy's saying that he was trying to kill me, and saying that I was going to prevent the cannon from firing. And she says, I will not interfere, and so on and so forth. And she's stating, can that thing really defeat all those dragons? And that's pretty much what happens. The rest is, the middle part of this chapter is bullshit. I'm going to be perfectly honest. It was just basically the King of Fiore standing there, and, oh, I need all your help, because she's saying how, the cannon's going to destroy most of the dragons, but a few hundred will probably survive, and we need your help. And they say, sure, everybody's so happy, ready to go. Fairy tale, yeah. Fucking friendship bullshit. Typical friendship bullshit going on. And that's basically what he was explaining here. And he's crying and so on and so forth. And, they're all basically saying, we're going to help, blah, blah, blah. And then we get to the good part. Lahall, I actually like this part in this chapter. This was interesting. We're going into jellal here. And jellal doesn't show up yet. He says, we have to see Lahall with Darren Bolt, and they're just looking at the scene, and says, what a sight, all these majors side by side, the eclipse, simply having it their permission means they've broken about 30 laws. And then there's jellal, and they're all looking at him with evil eyes and saying, why here? And jellal says, I have a request. We don't know what the request is now, but I think it has something to do with the future rogue. So yeah, something going on there. And then we go back to Natsu, and Natsu says, you reek of evil. Did you really come here to save the future? And then we get the final page. Your man is ace in the hole to fight against their despair. A gate with their hopes writing on it, what lies behind it. And it says, the gates are opening to continue in chapter 326, Natsu versus Rogue. Now, this could be interpreted in different ways, but I'm going to give this chapter... I don't know about this chapter. I mean, everyone pretty much dropped this shit, and I'm continuing reading it only based upon the fact I want to see how events unfold. Now, I'm probably going to give this, bear mind you, I'm going to give this a 4. I'm probably going to give Kenichi chapter a 4 as well. But the reason I'm giving this a 4 is because of the scene with jellal, and because, you know what, I'll give it a 3.5, because this was mixed in with a bunch of stuff. So I'll give it a 3.5. Because there's 2 reasons why I'm giving it a 3.5. Because these 2 reasons were just not enough to give it a 4. The thing with Yukino and Mirror Jane, and the thing with jellal. Because the thing with jellal questions you, like, what is this request that he wants Lahall to do? And the thing with Yukino and Mirror Jane, it brings up the point that maybe Yukino might be, or later, for a better word, something along those lines. Because it just begs the question that maybe she is Lisana. To some extent. But that's just, you know. So, yeah, that's all that is. Now, there are some theories I have about what will happen. One obvious one would be the dragons come out of the fucking gate. Which, to me, is an ass pull. I mean, that would be, like, really out of the ordinary. And holy shit, would it come out of nowhere. I'll be like, holy shit, that's crazy. But I think this is going in the correct direction. I believe McWhirlpool, he said it before. He's just waiting for these dragons, see how this is going to go down. who's going to die, what Hero's going to do with this, and where it goes from here. Now, the whole thing with Rogue saying, she's going to close the gates and everything, that might come fruition if the dragons come out of the gate. If the dragons aren't coming out of the gate, then that's ludicrous. And I don't know where Rogue... And Rogue said, she closed the gates and you caused the destruction of humanity. But what if the dragons are coming out of the gate? But that's that hasn't been decided yet. We have to wait and see. But overall, I like what's going on here to a certain extent. Let's see where this leads us. I think it's going to lead to a good scenario. To a certain, for better word, a good scenario. To a certain extent. So, yeah. That's at least that's what I'm hoping it is. I mean, like I said, since those god-awful chapters with Urza being bullshitted and Loxus being bullshitted, it's been me saying, I'll wait and see. So far, Hero's done a good job. Since his god-awful chapters. It wasn't too bad. And, I go back to what McWhirlpool told me. Inc., he was saying, he's been with this show since the beginning. And he's not going away from it. For the manga. And I don't think I should either. Now, if everyone's wondering, are you going to read the episode? We'll see. The final episode is anime only, but we'll wait and see on the episodes. That's not what we're talking about right now. So yeah, move that aside. But for now, for the manga, that's going in the correct direction. It is. I honestly believe that. It's not as bad as it could have been. After Hero's debacle. After his debacle. He's actually came back and people were... One person I think wrote in my comment section, oh, he's pulling a Kubo. He's Kubo in it. Because that's what Kubo does. Well, to a certain extent. He'll have a really bad thing and then all of a sudden he bounces back. But with Hero, we have to wait and see. We have to wait and see. I don't know what he's doing with this. Dragons come out of the gate. They're coming out somewhere else. The canon, does something else. Who knows? Who knows? We have to wait and see. But overall, I like what I see. Of course, the thumbnail's going to be Lucy. I'm sorry, I got to use Lucy. I don't know why. What am I, Lucy fanboy? I don't know. Hey, in the good words of King of Lightning, Oda, what are you doing? First Ignu, now a fairy, and Lucy? Yeah, I don't want to bring up One Piece here, but that was crazy what Oda did last week. When King of Lightning was going on that. But anyway, that's all I got for you guys from Bonkai 922. Let's hope for a big thing. I hope next week's going to be Natsu against Rogue, so that's probably going to, go through. And now let's hope these dragons show up and it gets crazy. That's what I'm hoping for. Crossing my fingers. Crossing my fingers. So yeah. This has been Bonkai 922. I will see you guys later. Podcast at 8 o'clock with Larry. Fucking A. Fucking A. See ya.